Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter of Science 8, that is sound. Now before starting this chapter, let's discuss what is sound. The voice you are hearing right now is a sound that I am producing and you are hearing. So how you are able to hear this sound and how this sound is produced by me, and we will be studying about this in this chapter. Now students, we will be discussing how is this sound produced, what are the characteristics of sound, and how this sound propagates. What do you mean by propagates? How the sound travels, okay, from one point to another point. So we'll be discussing about this here, and how we cannot hear the sound in the vacuum. What is vacuum? If you have an idea that vacuum is a place where there is no air, you will be not able to feel any gravity around you. So this is an area, okay. So let's start a chapter. First topic that we are going to study is how is sound produced. How is sound produced, okay. Now students, you might have heard this bells, period bells in your schools. And how does this bell work? Okay, the gong of the bell, okay, hits a surface and a sound is produced. And these students, if you go nearby it, you will be seeing that the gong which hits the surface, it's vibrating. What do you mean by vibrating? That it's performing and to and fro motion. This is a to and fro motion. You have all seen a pendulum. In your watches you may have seen, or you may be playing tie a stone or tie a ball with a string and try to do this type of motion. So this motion, when this ball moves from here, then it moves again here. This is called to and fro motion, and this motion is only the vibrations. Okay, so vibration means like movement along its point. बिकॉज बच्चा ये जो बॉल है इस पॉइंट पे तो हमेशा आएगी, सो ये यहाँ पे भी जाएगी, फिर यहाँ आएगी, फिर इधर जाएगी. So this motion is called to and fro motion, okay, and this is called the vibration. So what happens? Two objects when strike together, they produce vibration, and when this vibration are strong enough, we may be able to hear a sound, okay. So you know, in ancient times, this start of war was declared by, you know, hitting the gong on a large bell which vibrated, and this vibration produces sound, okay. Now there's an activity given in your books, and it's a very interesting activity you all can do. Just do one thing, put your finger on your throat, okay. Now try to speak something. You will be seeing that, you will be feeling that there are some vibrations. Vibration is like it's a shaking type of thing will be happening here. So try to speak loudly, so you will be feeling more and more vibrations. So you can also say, and why these vibrations are produced here only, because there is larynx, or you can say it is a voice box of your which produces this vibration and you are able to speak. So this larynx or this voice box is the vibrating object which produces sound in your body, okay. Now different types of animals also produce sound. You mean like these mammals have a sound making mechanism and produce a wide variety of sound. Now we can also, some can also make this sound of birds, some can take this make the sound of animals, okay. So like suppose you are making a sound of this monkey, or you are making the sound of dog. So you are able to make different varieties of sound because have this sound making mechanism. Now you know this hyena, the hyena is an animal, it's a wild animal. You know how do this hyena make the sound? Hyena make a sound like we are laughing. So his sound resembles the laughter of a human. Similarly, the baby orangutan is belongs to a family of this apes, you know, it's belong to a family of apes. So this orangutans also produces sound which resembles to the cries of a human baby. So if you see that a orangutan is crying or he's saying something, and it will be like a human child is crying somewhere. Now this frogs, okay, this frogs have also a this vocal cords, and these vocal cords make a loud sound, and this loud sound is called croaking. You know, this frog is croaking. Okay, you know, some fish also makes this distant sounds by forcing the air from their air sacs. Now this fish has air sacs, and this air sac, what do this, how do they produce sound? They produce the sound by pushing air from this air sacs, so the sound is produced. Okay, you know, birds have a special organ which they help them to communicate with other birds of the same kind very well. Now, you know, snakes do not have any vocal cords like fishes. They do not have any vocal cords, but bacha, they have this mechanism. They make this hissing sound. How this sound is produced? This sound is produced by forcing the air out of their mouth. You know what they do? They tightly close their teeth, their mouths, and they just force their tongue out. Okay, that's how this sound is produced. Okay, so crickets, it's not necessary they will be producing sounds from their mouth only. Some insects can produce sounds from other parts of their bodies also. You know this cricket is an insect. Okay, so cricket makes sounds by rubbing their wings against each other. You know, grasshoppers, they also make this sound by rubbing their leg and their wing behind limbs, and they produce this sound. And you know, the sound producing by the grasshopper is called playing their violins, because it resembles to the movement of violins. Okay, now this is about the sounds. You know, this flies and this mosquitoes also produces sound. You have this buzzing sound nearby you, and how this sound is produced, you know, it's nothing but the fast movement of the wings of the mosquito and flies produces this buzzing sound. Okay, and animals are able to understand each other and communicate with each other by their own sounds. Okay, now there's some activity so you can feel how this sound is produced. One was this: put your finger on your throat and speak or recite a poem or sing a song, anything you can do. Okay, second is stretch a rubber band. Okay, hold one point very firmly and one end stretch one end. Okay, now you can stick this to a hook or a nail. Now stretch, and on the middle just try to put your finger like this, and you will be seeing that there is some vibrations are happening, that is some shaking is happening, and this shaking produces a sound. Okay, now you can just take a plastic ruler, put it on the top of a table, now on a tabletop, and hold the one end very firmly and try to, that other end that is in air, try to have like a slap type to this scale. Now you will be feeling this to and fro motions, vibrations are produced, and you can hear a sound also. Okay, this is, you can do all you have with the scales. Okay, now another thing that you can do is, like, you know, this blow air on the bottle, on the mouth of a bottle, and you will be seeing some sound are produced. Now repeat this activity by filling different types of water levels. Full bottle में आप sound produce करिए, फिर half bottle में, empty bottle में, so you will be feeling different sounds are produced. Okay, now you know, students, this thing is also utilized to make a musical instrument, and this musical instrument is called Jal Tarang. Okay, now bacha, take a tuning fork. What is a tuning fork? Tuning forks look like this. Okay, this tuning fork, a particular tuning fork has make a particular type of sound or particular type of vibration or number of vibration in 1 second. We'll be studying about this. So this tuning fork, when struck together, it produces vibration. It will be shaking. Okay, and this sound are produced. Okay, and what you can do, one more thing, just strike this gong, tuning fork, and take the pongs. What are the pongs? Where are you guys? These are the pongs. Take this pongs to a water, okay, and touch that water. You will be seeing that the water starting shaking very agitatedly, okay. So this means the vibration sounds of this tuning fork is travel to the water, okay. Now for the sound can be produced by 4 ways. That is, can be produced by beating, by rubbing, by blowing, and by plucking, okay. And the vibrating body, it require a vibrating body which will rotate, because आपके hands तो sound नहीं produce करते ना, आपके mouth ही क्यों produce करता है, because it has larynx, and larynx or the voice box is the vibrating body of your system which produces sound. Similarly, so a sound making mechanism needs a vibrating body, and it can be the stretched skin or the stretched string like in violins, okay, stretched skin in drums, okay, or tablas, okay, and air columns also like in your this trumpets, okay, and flutes, okay. Now you know, so students, we human can only hear sound up to 20 to 20,000 hertz, okay. Now this sound range is called audible sound range, okay, or you can also say as sonic sound range. Now students, you know, the sound range below 20 hertz, we'll be discussing what is hertz also, okay. So the sound range which is below 20 hertz, it's called infrasonic sound waves, or you can say subsonic, okay. And more than 20,000 hertz, it is called ultrasonic or supersonic sound waves. And this range, that is more than 20 hertz and less than 20 hertz and more than 20,000 hertz, this range is called inaudible sounds, okay. So I have told you about that, what is a to and fro motion, and you can just simply do by making your own pendulum. Pendulum is nothing but a string attached to a heavy weight, and this weight moves in this motion. So this is a simple pendulum, okay, which produces slow vibrations. So you are able to see and feel what are the vibrations which are produced, okay. Now we will be discussing the characteristics of vibration. What we will be discussing? We will be discussing the characteristics of vibration. The next heading is characteristics of sound, okay. Sorry guys, vibration of vibrations. Now students, this vibration has some important characteristics like frequency, amplitude, and time period. We will be discussing all this in detail now. What is frequency? Now frequency, you know, when an object moves back and forth or to and fro, it's towards around its mean position, it is said to be vibrate. And the number of vibration, that is, let me write down the definition, the number of vibration produced in 1 second is called frequency, okay. Now suppose a object is making 300 vibration per second. So that means the frequency of this object, suppose this object is your fork, okay. Now this fork is producing 300 vibration per second, or you can say in terms of frequency 300 hertz is the frequency of this fork. Okay, so this is about this. So what is hertz? Hertz is a SI unit of frequency, and its symbol is Hz, and it was named after a scientist. Okay, so if your body are making 600 vibration per in 1 second, then the frequency is 600 hertz. Okay, now this is about this vibration. You know, students, we can only hear up to the range of 20 to 20,000 hertz. You know, but we can produce, the sound we will be producing is the range. Okay, this, let me write down first. Human can produce, can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But humans can produce, हम साउंड रेंज किस एरिया में प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं? फ्रॉम 60 हर्ट्ज to only 1300 hertz. Okay, so this is the sound range which we can produce. Okay, so this means if an object vibrates 20 times in 1 second up to 20,000 times in 1 second, then only our human ears can detect it. Okay, and as I've told you, the frequency range below 20 hertz is infrasonic and above 20 hertz is ultrasonic. So this is called inaudible sound. Okay, now this is about the frequencies. You know, students, another word that comes along with frequency is pitch. Let me write down the word pitch. What it is? It is pitch. It comes along with frequency only. Now what is this pitch? Pitch is the extent of shrillness in a sound. That is, if higher is the frequency, then higher is the pitch of the sound. You know, maybe just go through this internet and try to find this opera singers. You know what this opera singers do? They increase their pitch. They have very high pitches. What they do, they can create this much type of pitch that a crystal glass can also break. So this is the shrillness or the sharpness of the voice that can be created. Okay, and if lower is the frequency, lower is the pitch. Okay, and if this is frequency is lower or the pitch is lower, that means the sound is very heavy and coarse. That's why, students, you have studied in your previous chapter that the sound of boys is hoarse and deep, and the sound of girls are high pitched and shrill. So what do you mean by this now? It means sharp, heavy, high pitched and sharp. So this means that boys have a girls have a high frequency of speaking, that is, they have high pitch, and boys have low pitch or lower frequency of speaking, of producing sound. Okay, so we are clear about this. Now we will be discussing another characteristic of vibration, that is called amplitude. Now amplitude is the maximum magnitude an object can attain. Now here we will be talking specifically regarding the sound. Now students, there is this fact side given in your book that stork can hear frequencies up to 40,000 hertz. Okay, and your bats can produce and hear frequency up to 70,000 hertz. Now we will be discussing this amplitude. What is this amplitude? The maximum extent of vibration a vibrating body can produce. That is the maximum magnitude a vibrating body can produce. Suppose this is your pendulum. Okay, and this pendulum is moving. That is, it comes to maximum height it can attain here. Okay, this ball is here at one point. Here also Okay. Now this maximum height. Now both area will have same value. If it is 5 meter here, then it is also 5 meter here. Okay. So this is a to and fro motion. Next the ball will come here. Next the ball will come here. Next the ball will come. When here, here. When here, then here. Okay. So this how the to and fro motion is increased. So maximum आपकी ball कहाँ तक गई है? यहाँ तक गई है. So this is the amplitude और the maximum amplitude. तो मैं इस रीजन की एम्पलीट्यूड निकालूंगी तो यहाँ से और यहाँ तक की एम्पलीट्यूड हो जाएगी. ओके. इफ मैं यहाँ से निकालूंगी तो ये मेरी एम्पलीट्यूड है. सो एम्पलीट्यूड इज रिलेटेड टू द लाउडनेस ऑफ द साउंड. हायर द एम्पलीट्यूड, लाउडर विल बी द साउंड. ओके. एंड दिस loudness of the sound is measured in decibel, which in which it is measured in an unit called decibel. And this decibel, okay, this is measured in a unit called decibel, that is dB. Okay. Now there is an image also given in your book. Let me draw this image for you. So you will be clearing, see that suppose this is a string, okay, the string that you are vibrating. So you are vibrating in this motion. So what happens, the string goes at one point. Now vibration means to and fro, back and forth. So to, so furrow motion will be also there. Now the center point of this string will be somewhere here. Now this point is the amplitude and this point is the amplitude. Now both this will be equal in size. So this is about the amplitude. Okay. Now we will be discussing the next heading, that is time period. Okay. Let me write down time period. Now what is this time period? बच्चा 1 second में आपके this how many complete vibrations are taking place. Okay, so the time taken by the vibrating body for one complete vibration is known as the time period. So what is time period? The time taken by the vibrating body to complete one vibration is called time period. Suppose students, this is an object and it is creating vibration. Suppose it create, let's take the example of pendulum because it's we can see clearly. So here come the pendulum, here come the pendulum, here come the pendulum, and this pendulum goes here, 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 and here, and again it comes here. So this one full rotation here to here is one vibration, and time taken to complete this one vibration is called time period. Suppose it is completed in 5 seconds. So the time period will be 5 seconds. Okay. And the SI unit of time period is seconds. Now we will be discussing how sound propagates. Propagates means travel. Okay. So we will be discussing about this, that how this sound which is produced by different medias, it reaches to our ears or different locations or different sources. Okay. Now we will be discussing about this. Okay. Let's start. Write on the heading, how sound propagates. Okay. Now what is the meaning of propagates? Propagates means traveling. Now sound is a sequence of waves of pressure. Okay, it creates a pressure, and this which propagates through a compressible media. Now this compressible media can be air or water, okay, and gases also, metals also, anything, okay. So this wave, this consists of the media, the wave consists of the particles of the medium through which it travels. Okay, a sound is energy that is transmitted in the form of sound waves. What happens when an object vibrates? The air surrounding it, okay, suppose okay, suppose you are producing some sound. When you are producing this sound, what happens? There's air molecules present around you. So this vibration which you are producing, it transfers its energy to this air molecules, and they also start to vibrate. And this vibration is carried on to a distance. And if some person is here, then he will be able to hear that sound. Okay, so this is how the sound propagates in. Okay, so the sound propagates is require a medium. Here the medium was air. It can be water or it can be anything. If there is no medium, then the vibration in an object will not be able to travel. Okay, now bacha, you know the speed of sound is also affected by the type of medium also. If it is solid, then the sound will be traveling faster. In gases, the sound travels very slowly because the molecules are very, very far away. Okay, now the state of the medium through which the sound travels is not only the factor which affects the sound speed. The other factors which affect the sound speed are density, temperature, and elasticity of the medium. What is the density? That is how dense the particles of an object of a media is. Okay, and temperature, that it is cold or it is hot or something like this. Okay, and also the elasticity of the medium, because they will be vibrating now, so they will be required to be elastic in nature. Okay, now next heading is sound cannot travel through vacuum. Sound cannot travel through vacuum. Okay, now bacha, what is this vacuum? What is this vacuum? Vacuum is a medium where there is no air. If there is no air, there is no matter. So how will the sound will be traveling? As there is no particles, so the sound will not be able to travel. Okay, so this is about the sound cannot travel through vacuum. Okay, now the three activities which are given in your book. One of the activity is which will show you that the sound requires a medium to travel. Okay, just take an electric bell and put it in a jar and try to create a vacuum there. Okay, and you will be seeing that you are not able to hear the sound when there is vacuum, and without vacuum you are able to hear the sounds. Okay, now the next activity is that the sound can travel through solids. Just take a table and take your friend help. Go to one side of the table you and put your friends to the other side of the table. Okay, and try to say your friends to make this sound. Okay, suppose this type of sound, and you put your ears on the next side, and you will be able to hear this vibration also, and you will hear the sound also. So this is the activity that the sound waves can travel through solids. Now there is another activity which is tell you about that the sound waves travel inside water. Just take one thing. Take two stones or two marbles. Now these two stones or marble, click them together, listen to the sound. Then submerge them in a liquid, okay, pool or swimming pool or any water which is have a very large density area. Okay, now click them together under water. You will be able to hear the same sound there also. Okay, and now just try to identify which sound was clear and louder. Okay, the sound heard is clear and louder when the stones are submerged in water, because when we are hearing the sounds, it was in gaseous form, okay, in the air. So the sound was very much low, because sound also depends on the particles of media, okay. So sound will travel through fast in liquid. So you'll be able to hear louder sound in liquids than in gases. So this completes our today's topic. Now we'll be discussing about next topics in next class.